Right, here's the first blaze on my journey. You couldn't ask for worse weather. We've got a wintry mix of snow and rain. Temperatures right near freezing, but it is what it is. And so I begin my journey. Well, the morning started out ugly, but it is really nice out right now. It's perfect weather for hiking. There's a good breeze, and I'm super comfortable just in my hoodie. So this is a good example of Virginia AT. I'm hiking along the top of Johns Creek Ridge, and soon I'll drop down into Newport. There's an accident waiting to happen. Somebody got out here and marked off the area here so that hikers would bypass and not walk under that fallen tree. And the tape is torn, so hopefully people will know to come over here to walk around instead of going under that thing. That would be a quick end. So anyhow, thought I'd talk a little about what I'm feeling on this first day. I slept about 3 hours last night, and I guess I would describe my feelings about the start of this hike as a mixture of dreams and doubt. And the preposterous nature of this endeavor is a little bit daunting. But as I've said before, it's not about me. This is about trying to get across a message. Maybe I'm a little like Paul Revere in that regard. And I want to talk about criminal justice a little bit later today. But right now it's really exhilarating being on the trail. It's such a good feeling. At the same time, I'm a bit terrified at what I'm facing, and maybe that's healthy. I mean, it wouldn't be good to ignore all the dangers that I'm going to encounter. I'm walking into the jaws of winter in the Northeast, and so it's going to take a good bit of luck for me to get through this. I've got a report that actually the trail down south is pretty good. There's only a 6-mile section, mostly in Tennessee, that's closed. So I could have started down there. But in a way, I'm still glad I did it. Did my start here. I think a lot of people, when they finish their hikes at terminuses, it's almost a destination hike. And doing it this way is more, it's about the journey. And I think it should always be about the journey. So I'll probably be one of the very first hikers to start the AT in this season. And people have written me asking what my plans are. So if I can make it up to Katahdin, then I plan to go out west and do the trails out there, and then return and do the southern part of the AT to finish up this Triple Crown. It's below freezing now. You can see all this snow on the ground. But it's a good temperature for hiking, and I'm real happy with the weather to start out. How fast the day changes. So there's still a few snowflakes coming down, but it's a lot warmer down off the top of that ridge behind me. So now I'm headed through some farmland, and eventually I'll climb up to the top of that ridge, and I have a long ridge walk along there. So that'll be fun. Still feeling good. Not sure how many miles I've done. I'm missing my family, but I've chosen to think of it as now I'm walking home. And so the hard part is over. Getting on the trail was the big deal. And in truth, that is quite an accomplishment to start on a journey like this. It's been a year planning for it, and it's finally coming to pass. Well, I have to point this out, and you guys probably will not have any interest in this whatsoever. But this tree right here that I've got my head on is a sourwood tree. And sourwoods are unique to the southern Appalachians. They grow on real acidic soil, and they tend to be tall and spindly. So if you look into the woods and see a tree that's arching, like that one, it's likely a sourwood tree. And loggers did not like sourwood trees because they generally don't get very big, and that's why I pointed that one out, because it is really big for a sourwood. And the thing that I like about them is, and if you're a beekeeper, you will like this too, they make delicious honey. And sourwood trees bloom late in the season. Most trees bloom in the spring, but sourwood trees bloom in mid-June to the end of July, and they have a lot of nectar. So most years they'll have a really good nectar flow for the bees, and it's a wonderful thing. I got stuck. So anyhow, I wanted to point that out. I wanted to also talk a little bit about the training that I did. I ended up getting 567 miles. And you wouldn't think it the way I'm huffing and puffing right now, but this is a pretty steep climb. Whew. And I fell 3 times. One of them was pretty spectacular, but hopefully I've got better balance and I'm better used to my pack, and I won't have too many more spills. But I also wanted to point out that some people remark that their hikes are a continuous footpath, and clearly mine won't be. So you can take away extra credit or whatever you want. I don't care. I think it's pretty neat if you can do a continuous footpath, but I'm out here to cover the ground. And if there's a wildfire or a trail closure, well, I may come back and do it later. That section, I'm going to be pretty adaptable here. So, I'm climbing up Sinking Creek Mountain, and behind me you can see, I'll turn the camera around, I'm in a corridor for a power line, but you could see the ridge I walked over this morning. And probably that bump right where the power line is, that's probably where I crossed, because at the top of that bump there were concrete pilings that were for a fire tower, and generally they put fire towers at the highest place on a ridge. So anyhow, that's what I'm guessing, but I need to get back to work. I'll talk to you later. Good morning. I'm coming to you from a shelter in Southwest Virginia, not too far from Roanoke. It's the 3rd of January. I lost my thermometer during one of the falls yesterday, so I don't know how cold it is. But there were 2 other gentlemen from North Carolina staying here last night, and they were trying to filter water. They've already left before they got on the trail. And they were having trouble because the filter kept freezing up, and any water they spilled froze instantly on the table out there. So I'm glad I filtered last night. But before I get on the trail, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about my purpose. There's a gentleman named Charles Raby who goes by he got the nickname Tarzan. They have nicknames for each other on death row in Texas. Charles is innocent of the crime he was convicted for, and I say that with certainty because I didn't want to believe it. I thought, yeah, these guys, these convicts are all con men, and they all want people to believe they're innocent. And then I got to looking into his case. To follow that up, I looked at criminal justice systems around the world, and there was one that stood out. To begin with, the police in this country, they are able to lie, to coerce, to deceive suspects at will. It's perfectly legal, and the courts allow it. They act with what's called qualified immunity, which some would say they act with impunity. They can get by with all kinds of stuff. The details are a little bit shaky, but in essence, they do what they want and get off scot-free. Also, in this country, the police officers have the least amount of training of any police in the world. But it's not just about the police. Prosecutors have absolute immunity for their actions. Anything they do that's in the line of their work, they get absolute immunity. In this country, there are very few trials. Most criminal cases and civil cases are resolved behind closed doors. The government takes the lead. They make the offer. And it's well known that if a suspect turns down the offer, the stakes are really high. This is high stakes gambling, and it's all out of the public eye. In essence, in this particular country, they incarcerate people at a higher rate than any other developed nation. They have more people behind bars than any country in the world. And at any given time, there's almost 500,000 people behind bars for a crime they have not been convicted of, for the reason that they can't pay bail. They can't come up with a lump sum of cash to get out of jail. So it pains me to say this, but that country is the United States of America. And I'm not into dragging down our country. I think it's a wonderful country. But when it comes to the criminal justice system, we've got serious problems, and I had no idea. I don't know if I can make any difference at all. I'd like to try and get some of the information that I've learned out there. And I'll say this, don't believe me, okay? Don't believe anything I say. You check for yourself. And if you have one single source that you use to check what I have to say, that's not good enough. You need to check multiple sources, and that's what I've done. I've looked at TED Talks, podcasts, I've read books. The internet is really sketchy, let me tell you. But and don't believe much of what you read on there, but check for yourself. I'm not saying anybody has to believe me. And if you check and find out differently, more power to you. Let me know, because I don't like what I'm hearing about the criminal justice system. So personally, I'd love to see some relief for Charles, because he's been there 30 years, over 30 years, almost all of his adult life. And it shakes me to the core. But anyhow, brisk day. I need to get on the trail. And thanks for listening. Trekking for Tarzan.